Okay, so a lot of people in the modern world struggle with motivation, struggle with drive, struggle with actually like getting up and doing shit, right? Simple shit, striving towards their goals that they want to achieve. And this is not just a psychological or mental problem. It's not something wrong with their mentality or whatever. They don't have to watch more David Goggins videos or listen to Andrew Tate more. It's just about their hormone and the signals that their cells get and their hormones give their brain. So I'm going to be showing you guys the protocol you can use to stay motivated the most, what's going to make you unmotivated, what's going to keep you lethargic, keep you seeking cheap dopamine, keep you seeking instant gratification instead of striving to what you need to do and what you actually want to do, and make your days a lot easier, okay, and a lot better. So first thing we're going to do is talk about is meal timing. So chronic snacking is going to keep insulin high and also chronically overstimulate dopamine. And when dopamine is overstimulated, the dopamine receptors in your brain become desensitized. The baseline needs to be higher for it to actually, respond, for you to actually get the feeling, the motivation, the boost. You're going to have a higher baseline dopamine, so you're going to be constantly craving cheap dopamine spikes, like doom scrolling, like watching movies, like playing video games, like watching porn, okay, stuff like that. And when insulin is high, this is also going to create a lot of food cravings, okay, and make your blood sugar go up and down. When you're chronically snacking, your blood sugar is going to go up and down throughout the day, which is going to lead to food cravings, which is, the biggest distraction that you can have. And food cravings, so it's like an endless cycle, okay? So chronic snacking raises insulin and also raises dopamine baseline. And then chronic snacking, because it raises insulin and because it raises dopamine, that's going to make more food cravings, and then that's more chronic snacking, and it's just an endless cycle until you stop it. This is what your insulin looks like if you're chronically eating, okay, chronically elevated, so we don't want to do that. What we want to do is eat less frequently, okay, eat 1 meal a day. That's what I'm doing at the moment, okay, one big meal of just meat and fat, or 2 meals a day and drink water in between, spring water versus osmosis water. That's what I do also sometimes, but I feel the most driven and feel the happiest, feel the most stable when I'm eating only once a day, because what happens is I have a, quite a stable insulin bump, and then I'm just using ketones for the rest of the day until 24 hours goes past. And I literally, stay satiated for almost 24 hours. I get hungry for maybe like an hour until I eat, and then I eat maybe at the end of that hour when I'm hungry. But yeah, that's what you're gonna do. And when you're doing this, eating later in the day helps, because when it gets dark, your ghrelin goes down, so your hunger hormones go down, and also your leptin sensitivity improves, okay? So you're gonna be more satiated. And we wanna eat protein and fat. To stay the most motivated and have the least crashes, we wanna only eat protein and fat, okay? Because protein is going to build neurotransmitters, be the substrate for dopamine and serotonin production to keep you motivated. Fat is going to produce ketones, keep your energy stable and your metabolism efficient. But on the other hand, carbs is just going to cause up and down, glucose crashes, energy crashes, lethargy, dopamine crashes. Okay, so to stay the most motivated, we want to just eat protein and fat. Okay, that's the most optimal. Obviously, I'm not being dogmatic about this. You don't have to eat only protein and fat to be healthy. I'm just saying the absolute truth. If you want to be properly motivated, at least what I've gathered from the biochemistry behind it, this is the inference that I've made, that if you want to be properly motivated 100%, all you should eat is protein and fat, or very little carbs that's found in meat, like the least amount of carbs in your diet possible. Midday sunlight is also a very good like energy motivation boost, okay, because it raises dopamine, but not too much that it overstimulates, okay? So it's just good motivation. It's healthy dopamine. It's healthy amount of dopamine to keep you motivated and keep you going, okay? That's what you need to get, not cheap dopamine, not spiking your dopamine so that it becomes overstimulated, but enough to actually give you some motivation. It also is going to improve blood flow, which is going to, improve your energy output, improve your metabolism, so you're going to feel more energized. So midday sunlight is very good. Do some sunbathing if you ever feel, lethargic during the day. EMF can give you brain fog, lethargy, headaches, stuff like that. We want to limit EMF, so try to stay away from devices that are plugged into the wall, any electronics plugged into the wall, anything using internet, like wireless internet, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, mobile data, stuff like that. Especially stay away from 5G, okay? If you're gonna use mobile data, use 4G. If you're not using your internet, use flight mode, turn off Wi-Fi, okay? Especially when you're sleeping, turn off the internet, or, keep it away from your head. That's the basics of it. Just be aware. It's not really about doing a bunch of shit to combat it. It's just be aware that if you feel foggy, if you feel groggy, If you have brain fog, if you have headaches, it's probably some EMF related shit or some blue light related shit, okay? Because blue light is going to overstimulate dopamine. This is why scrolling in phones is so addictive. Social media is so addictive because of blue light. And the flicker of the screen of the LED is super stressful for your nervous system because, you know, you can't see it. The naked eye can't see the flicker, but your nervous system definitely sees it, okay? Your brain definitely sees it, it just doesn't process it. But if you put your camera to an LED screen and you put on slow-mo 240 FPS, you're gonna see the amount of flicker that it has. This is going to raise your stress hormones and then make you have a crash and feel lethargic later in the day, okay? And gonna lower your motivation as well from the blue light and dopamine overstimulation, okay? So, you know, motivation is just about hormones and the signals you give your body, okay? And the substrates you give it. Pretty simple. That's how you're gonna stay motivated and driven and, you know, get what you need to get done and live the happiest, most productive life.